Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UENradio.com.
Welcome. Hey, everybody. Richard Listens on Sports. We are back after our July hiatus, and thank you all for being patient with us. It was an exciting month filled with exciting things like desert trips, wheelchair curling with our dear friend and former host, Peter Sobey. That was a trip. For those of you who have not tried curling before, $20 date night. It's cheap. There's clubs out there, and you will both fall on your rear and have a blast. So staying in theme with the show of just, you never know where your athletic repurposing is going to pick up, and go out and explore. It's still summer, got a few weeks left, and it's amazing. We've been retooling our show. We have a little surprise today. We have in studio Miss Kate herself, Caitlin Patricia Weiler.
Happy to be back.
Yes, she's going to tell us a little bit about what she's up to. And today we have a good friend of mine who's been patient with me. He came in, Mr. Darelle Noel.
Just happy to be here, Richard. Couldn't wait.
AKA in the gym, Revis to you. And, Darelle, this is a favorite part of my journey, is when I meet people who are helping other people, and just immediately you get like excited, like, oh my God, like what's it must be like on the daily grind, and to see you out there, like
Absolutely.
Every video is like you got someone bouncing on one leg or running through a ladder or holding them back with a resistance band, and I'm like, man, we got to get out there and try it, because it shows that you're taking the pros to the next level and that they're earning it.
Absolutely. Every day we work to push those guys to the next level. It's not easy. It's been a long grind, especially with the offseason, football, basketball, but we just have to stay with them, continue to push them and do things like that.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it. I mean, so you right now, we last caught you. We had Simmie Cobbs Jr. in here. We're going to get into that. I want to make sure we give a little time for Caitlin to give us a little intro about herself, how she's doing, what she's been up to, and then we're going to get into athletic gains and Darelle Noel and his work in preparing for both NFL and NBA drafts. So please, without further ado, Miss Caitlin Patricia Weiler.
Well, guys, glad to be back, and I'm so excited to have you here as our guest. Strength and conditioning. I spent so many years doing that myself and training with a lot of professional athletes, so excited to get this conversation going. Happy to be back here in Hollywood. Best place to be. So let's get this show on the road, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah, and you've been some pretty cool places. So for you to like L.A.
Yeah, I'd say it's still my favorite place. I've been living in this neighborhood. This is my third apartment here, and so this is just home.
Right on. Well, we hope to have you in studio for more shows.
Yes.
It's going to be a surprise. Guess we'll not know exactly when we have Caitlin here or when we have.
I think we should start the hashtag. Where is Caitlin? People like that hashtag. Where in the world is Caitlin?
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, your
or
social
you
media.
Where is Kate? That might be more simple.
Caitlin's social media has me like asking questions. Not only where is she, but what exactly is she doing? There's like a physical, performance thing going on. And then there's also some like, I don't know, is it cosplay or fantasy acting or?
You never know if that's the excitement about it, all right?
I don't know. It's unique to you. I don't know if that can be taught, but
nope, it can't. I am uniquely myself.
Yeah. So. Last I saw you were recovering from an injury. How are you doing with that?
Oh my gosh, yes. I had a horrible knee injury, and that's finally making its way better. I was cycling 4 or 5 times a week putting in like 80 to 100 miles and just had to come to a dead stop. I've not done any cardio over about a mile. At most I could do, and I would get pain for about 6 to 9 months now. And finally I am at a point where I'm pain-free on daily. So I have not really tested amping up that cardio back. I've started teaching a lot of group exercise classes, and I've been teaching Tabata, which I think is such a great way to kind of get that cardio aspect. I've been doing a lot of rowing to get my heart rate up and get that benefit that I can't get from doing prolonged cardio. So I've made it work, and it's also taught me a lot to figure out another way to train again, because that's kind of what an injury does. It makes you rethink your training, but also challenges you in new ways to push your body in a way you thought maybe, oh, I didn't think of this before. I don't know, has that ever happened to you?
That's interesting. Dealing with a lot of athletes that come from injuries, we have to figure out a lot of different ways to accommodate them. Even from a injury reduction or maintenance standpoint, we have to do a lot of the same things, because you never know how these kids are going to feel, these athletes are going to feel every single day. Especially with our basketball athletes, they are on the court 5 times a week, twice a day, and then they still come to us. So Tuesday they may feel great. Friday they may feel a little bit different. So from that aspect, we may tweak a little bit to change some things from that aspect. So we see that pretty much every single day.
Now, do you have athletes who are coming to you who are coming off injury? Is that, and they're looking for you for rehab and strength building?
We don't have athletes that come from injuries. When athletes come to us, they're cleared from injury. So we instill our full program. We accommodate it to them. And then we adapt to them and then kind of just modify it. It's all on a communication basis, so we accommodate them based off that. Not necessarily, oh, I had a torn ACL, I need to rehab that, because, it's a fine line with that. That's not our practice. Our job is to enhance performance, not rehabilitate. So that's the fine line that we try not to jump,
So you try and stay in your lane. So if you were to get, I don't want to wish injury on anybody, so I'm not going to give names, but,
yes,
if you got one guy who made it and gets drafted, and then a year or two later he does wind up with a knee or an ACL, but they've got the relationship and trust built up with you and athletic gains.
Yes, sir.
Do you refer them out? You have people like to get them back to a certain level?
Yeah, so what we would do, we would give our recommendations per our network, and push them to the best people that we think to give them the best results. And then when they're clear, we communicate with the person that did the surgery, one, and the person that did the rehabilitation to get suggestions on where he's at, the status, and how to push forward. And based on what we see, we can kind of, we call it the it factor, implement those things to continue to build up on his progress, one, and then also push him to improve his performance. So that's pretty much the method that we use. I
love that you said that, because I felt like my personal frustration with all the physical therapy, I went to multiple different people, different places, but in, the orthopedic, specialists I was seeing, I felt, unfortunately, I was in a situation where they didn't really care about me, the patient. They wanted me in and out of the room. I saw 3 different people, completely different diagnoses all 3 times. After an MRI, everything came out normal, but it was just so frustrating for me. And that I had to be such an advocate. Like I had to keep going, and keep pushing. And at the end of the day, it was really my own self-care and my own, feeling out my body, because I've been an athlete my whole life. And some of them even responded to me with that, say, well, you're an athlete, you should know. I'm like, why am I here then,
That's definitely the wrong answer.
Yeah, I came here because you're a specialist and you're here to help me. So I think, I don't know, do you ever recommend that to, your athletes? Do you say, you need to be your own advocate to a certain way, and or is there been a situation where someone's, pain is too much for them, and how do you kind of handle those situations?
When we speak about pain, if an athlete is ever in pain, we do not touch that athlete. We refer them back to the people that actually do therapy, and then when we, everything we do is based on communication.
I was just going to say, communication is huge in any aspect of life, but it falls short so many times with healthcare injuries.
Yeah, communication, feedback, and what we see. I would never guesstimate or guess anything based off what I'm looking at. I will always ask questions. What do you feel? How do you feel? What did you feel doing this? That's how we get the solution, by asking questions, getting feedback, and communicating. So I would never be like, oh, this is what you should do. You're guessing.
Right.
You know, so that's definitely not the approach. I don't think that's the right approach.
Yeah, I always
Me
share that
personally.
the best thing my karate sensei did for me, because there was so much fear surrounding my ankle after I had probably rolled it playing basketball, and it felt like for 8 months with a hairline fracture. And he would constantly be looking at me in the middle of a form or something and just say, "Is it pain or is it discomfort?" And he would just wait for me to answer, because sometimes you don't have the answer. And he would only, with the answer from my own body, would he allow me to make a decision.
Of course.
I
I think it's a big difference between pain, injury, or strain. If you're in pain, that means you aren't capable of doing anything or applying pressure on something. But if you're a strain, you would know the difference. You can still have flexibility, range of motion, but there might be a little bit of tightness there or some stiffness there. Then we could, put a remedy in place. Put some elongation activities in place. But if you're in pain, if you're strained, if you're hurt, it's totally different. You can tell, and we get the feedback by asking questions.
I think that's what my problem was, is I had like all of the above, and no one knew how to deal with me, because it was just such a comprehensive problem that like it wasn't just one thing. And I would always work through the pain to a point, because I'm like, well, I can't just sit here anymore and do nothing.
Right.
I literally took 5 weeks off, and I lost all my strength. So when I was building up my strength again, I got on this one machine, and I could only get it on 35, and then I had it over 100 the other day. So I couldn't believe how much I increased my strength again after just 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that can discourage you from still continuing to feel things that aren't normal.
But I had to work through it at some aspects. When I finally got over that threshold of working through the pain, then I started actually getting improved symptoms instead of like just that baseline of pain, and I'm not doing anything.
Right. I definitely get that.
So let's talk the politics example. Now that there are elite trainers like yourself out there helping people like Mr. Simmie Cobbs get ready, like you say you guys worked with Saquon for my Giants, Mr. Barkley. So how does it handle when a team like, I know my New York Giants are protective, and you have a relationship to the player, and they in the off season want to continue their workouts? How is that? Did they get all Belichickian on you and trying?
Not actually. There are time periods when we have full access to the athletes. There are time periods when the team has full access. So the time period where the team has full access is called organized team activities. So that's when they're with their team. I think it's a 6 to 8 week process. And then after the draft, there goes mini camps, organized team activities, and then mandatory team activities. So around that time, we do not touch them. And we may still communicate, but at the same time, they're still with their team. So it's a lot on their plate and a lot on the table. But we don't really have full access to them. Sorry. Up until
You're too strong.
Up until 6 weeks up until camp. So we don't fight with the trainers or the staff. They actually can't touch them at that time. So they can't touch them, so they're all ours.
Until 6 weeks before
6 weeks
camp.
until camp, yeah.
Now, is that mini camp or are those the OTAs?
Fall camp. Fall camp is right before the season, so which is what they're in right now. So they have fall camp for 4 weeks, they get shipped out to wherever each camp takes you. And then you have 4 preseason games, then the season.
Now, is that just professional courtesy, or is that like the like tampering rules or something like that?
From us, it's just we don't want to cross any lines, because every professional team has their own staff, strength coach, physical therapy, ATC, all the whole nine. So just from what we do, we don't want to step any boundaries, because
Reputation management, yeah.
Everything is about relationships. Even though we have the high profile or elite development or athletes, we still want to have a relationship with them and their staff and their coaching staff, because most times they want to know what this person is doing, what Antonio Brown is doing, what Saquon Barkley is doing, what Simmie Cobbs is doing. They want to know what they're doing in the offseason, just to make sure that when they get them, they're ready to go.
Right. That the training emulates the practice, or
or just to make sure they're working. Just to make sure they're working. A lot of times guys take time off. And then it depends on the status. If it's contract year, or if it's you had a bad year, you got to make up for that. They just want to know what's going on.
So have you had cases like that, like guys coming to you that are like 20 pounds overweight or where they're supposed to be, or like, what kind of challenge have you had where guys were maybe taking a little too much of an off season?
It varies because it it's all in stages. So if a guy comes in February overweight, it's not that big of a deal per se as it would be in July. So in March, April, we're still in the beginning phases of implementing all of our correctives, our preliminary exercises, our injury reduction exercises. So that will be the best time to kind of get that weight off. But if we see a guy that comes in June, July, overweight, out of shape, then we got to turn it up a little bit. But we see a lot of different things. We like a lot of different things because coming off an injury, you may put on some pounds.
Personal relationship issues.
It's
yeah. How much does the emotional impact kind of affect your athletes?
Man. It a great deal. Being an elite athlete, no one knows how tough that could be. It's so much that goes on from family, friends, and then the aspect of you being a football player, basketball player, professional athlete, then social media, and that turns it up probably times 100. So what we do has a great deal of being a mediator, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So we have to mediate a lot of different.
You need a counseling degree.
Yeah, right. We say you're partly that too, right?
So we have to be a mediator inside that moment. So one thing I'm big on is tactics. So there are a lot of different tactics to reach a commonality. Mm-hmm. Rational, hard, soft. Some guys don't like to be yelled at. Some guys don't like to
find the way to connect,
be screamed
right?
at. Some guys are in a bad mood. Some guys are late. So a lot of those things go into play, which are, I think, some of the things that accumulate a better program. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of programming, but sometimes the program has to be adapted and modified to our personnel. A guy come in late, didn't sleep last night. A lot of those things that goes into account.
So for a lot of our listeners that are lay listeners and are like, how do I become stronger? How do I, what does it take to get stronger to the next level? Mm-hmm. Walk us through, Jarvis is flashing up here, inchworms and some of the resistance bands.
That's my guy, Damian Square. He plays for the Chargers now, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, their new stadium coming up, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of things do you recommend to an athlete who's trying to, build their strength and get ready for the next season?
Just like we talked about across the street at Starbucks. The biggest thing is keep it simple. If you want to get stronger, lift weights. If you want to get faster, move fast. But it's a little deeper substance to that. But just to keep it simple, if you want to get stronger, lift. If you want to get faster, move like you play. But the little smaller component to that would for us would be to check all the boxes from body control standpoint, foot positioning, striking points, things like that. But
because you're getting guys who are they already got a 4.5, right? And then they notice they want to they want to beat receivers at the NFL level. So to get them faster or to keep them working on agility,
from that aspect, it's maintenance. Maintain the things that they'll do for a consistent period of time. We really don't change much. If you're a 4-5 guy, you're gonna be a 4-5 guy your entire career. For us, we want to keep that consistent and maintain that 4-5, or your agile, your community, your composure, your competitiveness. Keep those things consistent. So we're not trying to change the playing surface. We just want to keep you consistent and maintain.
When you say consistency with your programming, though, too, do you saying that an athlete's programming really doesn't change throughout their career, or do athletes get bored with their programming? And that does that ever happen where you have that scenario where they're like, I'm just tired of doing this, I need a change?
Mm-hmm.
For me, with my own workouts, I get bored.
For sure. So, what I did when I began training, I sought out a lot of different possibilities or outcomes of every single exercise. So now when a guy gets tired of something, now we modify it and change the exercise that gets the exact same outcome. Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean by keeping it simple. So it's a lunge, change the variation, change the hold, to challenge them a little bit more. But that's what I mean when I say keep it simple. But when we get to the programming aspect, we still have to deal with real life people. So that's, for me, is the bigger key. Real life people, real life settings in this moment. How do we kind of 100% adapt to this individual and give them what they need right now? not what I think, not what my ego says should be done, but what I see. That's bigger for me.
Right. I could tell that when you had, Simmie in here. It's like, you can't just have a cookie cutter preparation course for someone. You know what they've been through emotionally growing up.
Of course.
And you know all that's riding on them getting ready, and how in particular they may be reacting to failing on a given day or at a given workout. Like, the emotional component of it, so you're not going to react to that the same way someone who you perceive to have kind of slacked off and just gotten complacent.
Of course. And like I said earlier, Simmie was really easy because he was similar to me. We didn't talk a lot, but we communicated a lot. Which, if that makes sense.
Say more about that. How do you do that when you see someone who's not a verbal guy? Because I'm a verbal guy, and when I get around someone nonverbal, it's like,
well, that's me. I'm super verbal, super communicative, and I've been around a lot of people lately that are not, and I find I am very overwhelming to people who don't like to communicate. Yeah. So it's like, how do you
What have you learned? How have you learned to shift that, Caitlin?
Oh, I don't. So I'm asking him. I haven't really learned.
We're still working
maybe
progress.
To shut up for a minute. That's all I learned.
Yeah, I'm trying that once in a while.
One thing I've learned is try to ask the right questions. Just talk. Take time to understand, read body language, and ask the right questions. When you do a lot of those things, you understand how to communicate. And then when you read individuals, you kind of know what they're like. So that comes an icebreaker. So if this guy likes breakfast in the morning or a shake, you ask them about that. Now they're more inclined to kind of talk to you,
Right. Keep it casual first.
Opposed to just talking,
Yeah.
I don't talk much, but when I do speak, I want it to be impactful, especially when I'm training. I want it to be impactful. Something that I say has to make sense or it's out the window. I wrote a blog about attention span and capacity. If you don't grasp that attention span and capacity within a split second, you lost the athlete. So we have to be impactful with our delivery, our command, and what we're saying. Sometimes you just got to give them the space because these are elite level athletes. Something has to be learned through trial. It's from, my balance. I'm not holding it the right way. These things has a feeling to it that your body will naturally adapt to it. So 3 or 4 reps, you start seeing different things and feelings. Then there comes a communication line from that person. So sometimes when you step back, that opens an avenue for them to come to you. So that's one thing that I learned. It's not all about being the alpha in the communication, but opening lines and make them lines like power lines.
Be the silent alpha.
I noticed from the group of guys you had together, and they seemed to be these guys were preparing for the NFL draft. Were different, right? One was lineman from
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
One was a linebacker from Michigan, University of Western Michigan.
Western Michigan, right? So they're very different upbringings, and here you brought them together, and they're together for several weeks intensive, right? And they're doing several times a day workouts. So I noticed like periods of time of kind of just hanging loose, not having that attention, being so direct or critical maybe. Or maybe some beach workouts, something that was fun, that's challenging, but also they're out there enjoying.
Especially they were there for 10 weeks. And so we did a lot of things to help them decompress, gave them days off. Some days we just had fun.
Yeah, if I come from Michigan, Darelle, and you don't let me get to the beach, I'm protesting, right? I mean.
Oh, man. And when we let Simmie get to the beach, shirts were flying off. He was running all over the place. He was there for a while. So sometimes we had to leave him. But
he's a Chicago guy. What do you expect, right?
Oh, I expect just that.
So tell us, what is your advice, Darelle, for someone you're loving these videos he's putting out?
Yeah, that was cool.
One in particular you want to?
No.
These are all the different exercises you walk people through?
That was a dope one. I like that one.
Explain what they're seeing right now, because our viewers can't always.
So right now we had Saquon and Todd. We call it neuroactivation. So it's part of our dynamic stretching and warm-up when we want to train and activate the body. So a lot of times when guys come to the gym, they're not fully woke. So when I mean neuro, we want the brain and the body to be on the same capacity. Because if the brain and body aren't functioning in sync, that's where mental awareness seeps.
I love what you're saying.
Mental awareness seeps, and injuries and reluctantness happens.
So
I can relate to
all,
that. Just getting in the gym in the morning, and I feel half asleep. Like I have to do like a little bit of cardio just to like get my body feeling everything. I don't know.
Well, that's
Richard,
the beauty
do you
of
do
doing it.
Yeah.
I've got a noon crew that I've been working out with, but I definitely think the morning. I mean, at least that's what the books say. That working out in the morning is better for your biorhythms.
Yeah, well, I agree. I've been
kinda wakes you
teaching
up.
group fitness at 7, 8 p.m. at night, and I hate it. And then I can't go to sleep, and
Right.
I'm like, I feel lethargic at the beginning of my workout because I've been moving all day, and then I'm all jazzed up. My class is almost over, and I'm ready to go like run a marathon, and I'm supposed to go to bed. So like, I hate working out at night. And then when you start your day with a workout, I feel like it just sets up your day for success. I don't know, you've got your whole body and your mind working together, like you just said. I think that's what it is. Or I'm more productive after a workout in my day.
I agree with you, but dealing with a lot of different people, everyone likes something totally different.
Yeah, some people like the night workouts, right?
I'm not a morning person. I'm more energetic when I have my coffee.
Oh, I need coffee first, of course.
Have you ever heard of a power plate? So it's a vibrating
Yes.
platform. So when I'm not really...
I don't even know if I should say this, but I like kind of auditioned for the power plate.
Really?
Yeah.
It's an amazing tool. So when I get to the gym early and I'm not up for it, I just turn it on and just stand on it.
Does that actually give a benefit? It was kind of, I don't know. Can you be skeptical about that? Like,
You can
it's
be.
a power plate.
You can be.
stand on it and it vibrates. Because I had tried it at a great.
Is it to wake you up, or is it to?
It does a lot of different things, but when I stand on it at 6 a.m., it's to wake up.
What I remember
Shake me up.
studying, it was like your muscles naturally contract like 10 per second or something. And with the vibration plate, it comes up to like 30 or 50 per second or something like that.
I don't know the
You're
exact numbers.
stabilizing to.
You're trying to stabilize.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact numbers, but you are right.
And then, because I remember working with a trainer at like an Equinox once out in Beverly Hills doing like squats and different things on it, which it became more challenging because your whole body is
course.
like, being challenged in a different way. Every muscle's working, right?
Yeah. And we use it for like so many different things. For muscle activation, muscle recovery, to improve stability and function. You just think about a plank. Your plank is already challenging to some, but think about these vibrations. It's going to force you to stay locked in and challenge yourself a little bit more. So I love the power plate, not only for waking me up, but just to continue to challenge the athletes that we have.
Is there a time limit for that?
It's a timer on there. So
Because I remember feeling like almost kind of numb after.
I think it's a 30-second setting, 45-second setting, and a 60-second setting. And it has 3 different variations. So it's low, medium, moderately to high. And then it's another setting that shakes up the vibration a little bit more.
Or what would you recommend if someone's never got on a power plate and they go to the gym and they see it? What would you recommend them just trying?
Do the basic setting.
And just
then
stand there?
Just try exercise.
Or what's a good basic one? Is like a squat a good one?
A squat or a plank. A squat or a plank is always like a beginning go-to.
So everybody go find a power plate and try it out.
And I'm big on this. You never know anything unless you try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been noticing the introduction of a lot more of the Bosu ball, and I don't know if it's not the power plate, but the thing that kind of.
This is the Bosu ball.
But it's a plate, but you turn it, and it kind of it's either a lever or a twister, but you're planking on it. So
What
a lot
color-
more
what color
core
is it?
stability.
Is it blue? Black and blue?
It's black and blue.
That might be the Bosu ball.
With the black flat side and the like half of a ball on the other side.
Yeah, that's one. But then there's also I'll look at it. But it's a flat like wheel that you do your plank and you hold it, and while you're doing a plank, you can either twist it so you're doing core stabilization that way, or you can kind of move it up, toggle it this way. So
That's
more
interesting.
toys.
There are a lot of toys out there, but I personally like to keep it simple.
Yeah, my favorite is the ski erg, because I can pretend
The ski who?
the ski erg,
What's that?
where you're pulling down.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yes.
What does that do?
It's like a rower standing up.
Really?
So you get to imagine you're like, Lindsey Vonn, or,
Wow.
speak for yourself, Caitlin, whoever, right? You get to visualize yourself like flying down a mountain, which is kind of great when you're in the middle of a cardio and you're moving pretty fast, that you get the visualization component of moving like you're skiing. So sometimes it's the bike or the treadmill get a little stale in the midst of a workout to get a few rounds on the
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
I have yet to try it, but it looks very intense.
It is. I can do like one round really fiercely and then a few not so fiercely.
Can you change the resistance?
Well, I think it's fully. Yeah. Good question. See, I mean, I think it depends on how much of your body you get into it. Like you can definitely.
See, I look at that and I think I would hurt myself because my default muscle has always been my back. That for some reason, I have to really focus on form. Like back when I was competing in deadlift, powerlifting, when my back decided to engage at the wrong time, it could be so bad.
Yeah, it's definitely multiple stages of keeping your shoulders back and then legs.
Your core tight. Everything's got to be in alignment.
Definitely your core.
Yeah.
Everything starts with your core system.
So it's fun talking about our workouts, but let's get to a fun topic real quick, just because it's been going on. What are your thoughts on LeBron and his promise to build a school and the Donald and the way this has come out? And
you know what? I really like LeBron. Right now, I'm worried about where his son gonna go. I want his son to come work out with us and come to the school near us. But I know
that kind of work.
But seriously, I think
that's true.
I think LeBron is doing a great thing.
Is he coming to L.A. his son, or we don't know?
His son, they have a house in Brentwood.
Okay.
So I think I heard at a conversation today that he may go to Crossroads. So the same school that Shaquille O'Neal's son went to. And it's closer to Brentwood.
Oh, that's a great
gym. He should come to the Valley, come to Sierra Canyon, and be close to us. That's what I think. What do you think?
Oh, well, I wasn't thinking about his son, but I was.
No. So, I think LeBron will win in a couple years.
Well, man, I just think how's he not going to come out and be where his dad was? I would be so heartbroken if my son was staying back home. But if he built a team back in Cleveland, that's a whole nother level of problem. I think his team is really talented too, right? They've won a couple championships.
I think so. I'm not sure.
But it would be amazing. The Crossroads, pedigree. That's the LeVar.
Oh my gosh! What is up with him?
Jarvis is taking us on a few trips, but it's exciting. I'm not a Lakers fan growing up, but I think it's an awful tall task to ask him to just make miracles happen 1 year at a time. I mean, I'm a big fan of chemistry and development.
Right.
He's got some young players, but he, listen, I'm a big fan of his. He's been able to take a lot of players and bring them together, and he has that command and leadership to really do it. If players want to be together and they want to win, they know who he is and what he brings. But it's tough. It's tough with the Golden State and the Houstons out there.
It's definitely interesting. But I think with coming up next year, there will be, I think, 3 free agents next year that are available for the Lakers. Jimmy Butler, Kawhi, a couple other guys. So with the team that he's building right now, I think it's definitely a possibility for him to get 2 max contract guys to help him build.
But beyond basketball, seeing what he's doing for his hometown, seeing what he's doing for kids, feeding them, keeping their brain from being distracted during the school day, and giving them a place to learn. I think bicycles are, getting to and from. I mean, a lot of those things are really important in your mind.
I agree.
And
it's
being
great.
able to learn and not be distracted or just wander off and not care about your homework. And so that's exciting.
It's definitely unheard of for someone in that capacity to do anything like that. You've seen Michael Jordan, you've seen Kobe. They're all great in their own rights, but no one has done anything similar to this. That just shows that he cares. And I think the bicycle is one of those things that allow the kids to be kids. Social media has taken over a lot that's going on right now. Where I stay, kids don't come outside. Kids stopped coming outside a while ago.
Because of safety or because of video games?
Because of social media and video games.
Sad. It's
so sad. Which is crazy. So the bicycle will definitely allow them to stay focused and just have fun and be a kid. I know when I got my first cell phone, I got really antisocial and started doing things on my phone, and I'm recently snapped out of it.
Yeah, or even as an adult, I feel like I check myself all the time. If I'm in a restaurant and I look around at a table and everyone's on their phone, it's like you're out to be with people. We forgot how to be social. I think I'm worried about our youth not being able to know how to communicate.
Right.
They can only communicate, via text, not with their real words. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think there's studies if your cell phone is on the table, like all 3 of ours are, at some point you're planning to be interrupted.
Right.
So you're not fully present with the person you're with because you're giving yourself to, something to do when you feel a moment of anxiety or discomfort.
You're right. That's something I do often. So
with athletes, you must not allow the phones out, period, do you?
You know, with those,
I can hear the frustration.
With those athletes, you can't really kind of make like those type of demands. You know, there are certain guys that are focused and dialed in, but there are guys that really lackadaisical. So we had a guy that every rep, every set, he would stop, take his gloves off, and text or either change the music. You know, that takes a great deal of patience and understanding how to deal with him. So then about 2 weeks into it, you know what he's going to do. You know, boom.
How do you deal with the, you know, entourages and crews that come along? You also as tolerant with that?
We invite him to work out.
Yeah.
We invite him to work out. So it's a video. If you can pull up my Instagram. So it's one guy named Bobby Portis. We love him. He brings his entire group there. Right, next one right there. So you think about that video right there. His entire homies come in and work out. So we're like, hey, just work out.
Right, instead of hanging out.
Can I come in and work out?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I want to come work out.
Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., I'll be there. But so, you know, with things like that, we just invite them to work out. You know, and that way we create an atmosphere, and it's not a vibe killer, you know. And so it's...
And usually they go for it. They're into it, too, because they're getting a workout.
Yeah, either that or they walk out and go talk on the phone or something.
I love those sliders, too. That's one of my favorite pieces of, like, equipment that you can travel with. And my classes, they hate them. They're like, no,
Is this your space right now that he's showing on the screen?
Yeah, that's our gym in Calabasas. It's right off the Calabasas High School campus. We definitely work directly with the football team. So we wanted something to be, like, right close to them. They're building a program out there. They actually have...
Which high school is it?
Calabasas High School.
So tell us a little bit. It's a good time to plug your, you know, athletic gains and who you're working with. And
Now, I work with Athletic Gains, founded by Travell Gaines, which is arguably one of the best performance coaches, I would say, in the world. He means dear to me. We work with... This offseason, we work with Antonio Brown, Saquon Barkley, Taj Gibson. We had the number 3 overall pick in Trae Young. We had 3 overall picks in the NBA draft.
that's exciting.
And the highest played NFL running back ever, Todd Gurley. You know, so it's been a very interesting offseason. You know, I don't like to talk about a lot of those things. I just want to work. But it's been interesting. We had a lot of fun. We have about a month left, so I think both of y'all should come join in and work out.
Yeah, we should go. We should go at the same time. Let's do it.
Let's find a time where I can work out with you.
Yes.
Like, I dreamed of this answer. I mean, this question. It was one of the most challenging things, I think, for me, finding time to work out. It's one of the most challenging
That's
things.
why I never would work in a gym, honestly. I just started working in a gym for the first time, and it didn't matter what gym I'd go to. I'd always get a job offer, and I was just like, nope, it's my time.
Yeah.
My time.
That must be hard. You're helping people, and you're like, want to be in there.
Well, because then you're there all day, and so then you have to stay longer in order for you to get your time, right? Or you go in earlier. Well, no, you're not a morning person, so you wouldn't go in earlier.
I get to the gym 6:30 every day, but we move around, so to speak, with some of our athletes. Like I was telling Richard earlier, the Nike headquarters is right around the corner. So being that I start in Calabasas, it's an hour and a half commute to the Just Do It facility. So we go there, and then sometimes I go to Pasadena, Beverly Hills, and then back to the Valley. So it's an extended day from that. So,
How large is your team?
It's myself, Travell, Jacob, Kirk. So I would say about 4 or 5 people. But it still can get taxing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long day today, and it's been hot. So I'm trying to figure out how to make it.
If you're up and at the gym at 6 a.m., what time do you shut it down?
When I usually get back to the Valley around 6 p.m. 6 p.m. dealing with traffic. It could be later. It depends. You know, we had an NFL guy that was interning with the Players Tribune and the NFL Network. So his day would end around 7. It would take him an hour to get back to Calabasas. So then that 2-week span, I would be done around 9:30, 10. You know, so
get up and do it again.
Yeah, it changes. Everything changes based off who we have.
So you said you're working with both the pros and the high school teams at the same time.
One of our other coaches work with the Calabasas high school team, but I work with a lot of the pros as well.
And where do we see you in 5-10 years? What do you see the future for Athletic Gains? I mean, this is like taking off here.
In 5-10 years, for myself, Athletic Gains.
We could get both.
Which one you care?
How long
about?
have you been with Athletic Gains?
I've been with Travell Gaines, Athletic Gaines, for 2 years now. You know, it's a funny story. I was training in Houston, and I met his college roommate. And his college roommate, you know, introduced us. So I dropped everything that I was doing just for the opportunity. So I interned with him. You know, dropped everything, slept on his couch. I drove my car from Houston to Las Vegas, and we're here. No, 2 years. 2 years from when I started. And I think within 5 years, I really can't say right now, because the things that I wanted have manifested so fast. So every 6 months, I restructure the things that I want to do. Now I'm in a space where I would like to do personally, a lot more content, like training content, things like that. And I like to make short-term goals opposed to long-term goals.
Okay.
Because things change.
I like that you said that too. That's one thing
Things
I've always been so future-oriented, but my goals are so big and so far in the future that I think I don't have all that space before that. So I've been trying to now make more smaller goals to that end goal.
Definitely.
And knowing that it's definitely the journey.
Definitely.
I've accomplished some great things, and then you accomplish it, and you're like, okay, well, now what?
Yeah. I personally, I call it the process. I process because things that I wanted are either not in my mood anymore, or we have kind of grasped it already, and we living in that space now. You know, so I want to kind of continue to push. So I want to do more content, and I still want to continue to master this space. Me and Travell had a conversation last week. I'm actually back into a space where I feel like an intern all over again. When I first got with him 2 years ago, I felt like I did everything that I wanted to do. So I wasn't motivated.
Kind of got bored, right?
Kind of got bored. And then especially training with the caliber athletes that we are blessed to work with, kind of get, stagnant a little bit, like you're walking on a treadmill. And you walk on a treadmill, nothing is moving.
So what does mastery look like in working with elite athletes?
Mastery. The first step would be learning something, and the second step would be application. So everything I see or learn, I try to learn, apply. That way, everything comes together in full circle. So I don't think you're ever going to master something, because things are always evolving and changing. So if I would have to say master is something, it will be to continue to adapt yourself to
new knowledge areas in the fields of training.
New knowledge areas.
New techniques.
Techniques, but also understand how to. Let me think of the wording. How to manage people, personnel, ideas. That's more so in dealing with that space of professional athletes. Understand how to manage those things, not necessarily like the structure or the book or the science or the degrees.
How to get that information across to the different personality types.
That's
your specialty.
That's a very interesting piece. That's a very interesting piece. And I think I interned at Athletes Performance, now Exos. And a lot of what we learned was the X's, the O's, the anatomical aspect of it. But I spent 10 times as much time on the application piece. Roy Holmes, which is still a performance coach at Exos, I tip my hat off to him, because one thing he told me to take more pictures. When you take more pictures, you can see things from different angles and then formulate different concepts and ideas. And by doing that, you understand how to approach things differently.
Mental pictures or pictures of yourself working with?
Mental pictures.
Yeah.
So if I see him from this angle, I'll go to the side, check him out, go to the side, check him out. Now I have more questions, because something from this angle looked different. Now, by seeing all of those things, I either
it's all perspective.
Form a perspective of what he's feeling, and then also ask questions. So now, if his answer aligns with my answer, we continue to progress. Or if something seems a little bit different or out of whack, then we kind of change things.
So for the layman out there, I think what you're saying, like I'm picturing you standing in the gym and you got me coming in doing box jumps and squats every day, but you may orient yourself differently while I'm doing the same movement.
Exactly.
You may be noticing how my heels are touching the floor, how I'm firing off, or how I'm landing.
To the exact detail.
I noticed that with people. I mean, like even the slight movement of like when your knee is going too far forward, that can, if people are doing that repetitively, I mean, you're going to cause a major issue, right?
Cause a major issue.
And it's not going to necessarily hurt or cause pain right away, right? That's something you need to catch.
It definitely won't, especially when the adrenaline's going. You won't feel anything.
That's what happened to me. I think I would just, that's a little something. I'm just going to keep going.
And then you develop bad habits.
Yeah.
So when you develop bad habits.
Like my back, like I said, my back was always my default. And like I took so much concentration of like almost going back to the most simplest movements to retrain and to really, I always tell people I'm training, think about the muscle you're working. Really think about it. And you're going to help activate that muscle. Or like, some people like hit your muscle. Yeah. I had to do that because my muscles, the correct muscle would not fire.
Of course. So
is that common with your athletes?
It's very common.
Okay.
So when I spoke about the exact detail, so we precisely implement things to the exact detail. So we can break out of bad habits to focus on new habits. From the aspect of you saying that you have to think about it, with repetition.
I want to get in there and like have you see like what am I doing with my knee?
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Course.
Everyone's like, "What's the position on the bike?" I'm like, "Well, 100 people told me a different way, and then you get on a different bike, and it's different."
That bike seat may not have been exactly for you though.
Right.
So things like that.
Or I think of it if it's a knee, is it hyperextension, or is it what I mean? Or I've been competing and squatting and doing competitive weightlifting for so many years. I hope my form is on point. But you're the professional. I'll let you. You can tell me when we go to that gym.
I'm just okay,
Richard.
I'm just okay. But things do change. I like to take pictures. I like to see things from different angles. That way I can dibble and dive into it to fix you. We have to put a lot of care into it. Their goals become our goals. Their ideas become our ideas. We can't coach from an iPad. Because I think you have to play the field to get the best possible results.
So this may sound like a shameless plug, but why not? I mean, so if there's an athlete, right? There's an athlete getting ready for a draft, right? Like here's the difference of why reach out to Athletic Gains or a company where they're going to get that one-on-one attention with someone who's mentally visualizing different ways to help them perform versus trying, handle this on your own the way you've always done.
One, the results speak for themselves. Last year we had the number 1 overall draft pick. The year before we had the number 6 overall draft pick. But, if we want to break it down, the level of expertise that our staff entails and the customer service and quality of service that we entail, I think it's you get no greater experience than training with us than anywhere else. Like I said, I like to keep it simple. It's not a lot of gimmicks out there. We just want to be transparent about what we do and what we offer. And the communication and relationship factor with the people that we work with, kind of, sells a lot for us.
Yeah. So tell people a little bit more about how to find you, how to contact you, or what you got coming up.
You can find me on Instagram. We had a conversation today. I should change my Instagram to Revis because everyone in the training space knows me as Revis.
What's Darelle Revis going to say about that?
He'd probably be a hater, but I like Darelle Revis. That's my guy. You can find me on Instagram at DMN_1 of 1. I don't have a Facebook anymore, but you can find me on Twitter, same DMN_1 of 1, and you can find our company page, Athletic Gains. At Athletic Gains, yeah.
And people can get to see some real-life applicability of training and exercises you can do to reach your peak performance.
Of course. And
get to see some of these superstars that they're working with, which can just get you motivated yourself.
For sure.
And what's next? The NBA? What are we working on?
So right now we have a 6 weeks period where the guys are training for NBA camp. So we have 4 weeks for that. And after that, we go into a rebuilding phase. So we work on doing a lot of content, shooting content, and just remapping and retooling for the beginning of the year. So once January hits, we're going to September. So me personally, I'm looking forward to September. It's been a long 8 months.
It's been a long grind, and you're an athlete too. and you need time to shut the brain off and get your own workouts in, right?
I need a whole month off. A whole month off.
And what was that? What would that month look like for you?
Actually, probably not resting at all. Not resting at all.
That's what I would do too.
I'll probably go home to see my family. But other than that, getting back here, retooling my knowledge, helping our staff get better. Spending a lot of time with Javelle on how to improve and get better, and look back on the year that we had, and not get complacent with the accolades of things that we did. So for me, it's always a learning.
That's
how
how
to
you
get better,
continue to
how
grow.
to improve.
Keep
Thanks for being
redefining
here.
goals,
We're so inspiring too. I just could talk to you and ask you a million more questions. So I'm
feel free.
so excited for that invite to the gym. We are going, Richard.
We are going.
What's the
going.
hold up? How long are you here?
I'm here.
You here?
I am here.
Oh, let's do it.
I live here now.
You should check out the Nike space around the corner as well.
Yes.
It's literally maybe 2 minutes away. Cahuenga and Sunset.
Okay.
And it's right across from the Dream Hotel. You familiar with that?
I think so.
Yeah, it's right across from the Dream
Pop-up
Hotel.
gym space,
It's a pop-up gym for another 3 weeks. So
Okay.
we'll be. You can walk.
We
across
need like
the
a
street.
whole field trip day.
Let's
Wow.
go.
This is
Let's
this is
go.
going to be our pregame routine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah,
we'll bring
yeah.
our next guest in for a workout. See how see if he's still standing by the time the mic drops. Caitlin, tell us what you're up to.
Yeah, so I am here, there, and everywhere as usual. So just find me on my social media. I am Kit Kate on Instagram and Caitlin Patricia Weiler on Facebook. So yeah, you can always find me in the same spots, CaitlinPatriciaWeiler.com and KitBody.com.
Let me check you out.
Yeah, that's what we love. We're connecting our guests and our hosts. And Richard at RichardListens.
Yeah, Richard,
.com.
plug yourself.
Plug myself,
Plug.
Facebook / Richard Listens, Instagram at Richard Listens. Are you getting tired of this yet? So what I'm reading, Presence by Amy Cuddy. Check it out. A lot of information on the power of your physiology and poses, which we find in all different kinds of sports, including a look at the haka, special dance performed by the New Zealand rugby team, the All Blacks. So take a look at them. They got a 30-30 for that, 30 for 30 on them on ESPN as well. But the power of poses and truly embodying your strength. And a gift from David Welch Fit, Brave Athlete. Oh, I don't think you can see it. There you do. I won't say the whole title. It's got an F-bomb in there, but Brave Athlete, calm the F down.
Beep down.
You know, so we all know, right, to become elite and rise to the occasion, the second part of that. But we all know that getting people amped using training such as Darelle's and getting focused may not always be the challenge for the athlete, but learning how to slow yourself down and focus and be able to release negative emotions. Maybe a skill we all need to adapt to get to our next level. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. We gonna leave the next guest open. We have a couple of options. We may even have 2 shows for you. Our docket is full. We are excited with the host of different people we have coming out, from former professional basketball players making a tryout run for the NFL to college professors who are doing work in the field of sports psychology. So please reach out to me. Thank you for all the Instagram follows. I'm grateful for the growth of the show. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Thank you, Darelle.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.